Imagine for a moment that it is 50,000 years ago. You were asleep on the cold, hard ground of a cave. The fire has died down to a faint orange glow. Outside, the night is absolute, swallowing the world in darkness. And in your mind, you are running. You can feel the dirt beneath your bare feet. You can hear the heavy, terrifying breathing of a massive predator right behind you. Your heart is pounding. You feel the wind on your face. You trip, you fall, the beast opens its jaws, and suddenly your eyes snap open. You are back in the cave. You are covered in sweat. You are breathing heavily, but there is no predator. There is no wind. Today, if you wake up from a nightmare, you take a deep breath, look at your phone, and tell yourself, it was just a dream. You know it was just chemicals and electrical signals firing in your brain. You know it wasn't real. But imagine you do not know what a brain is. Imagine you do not have the words for subconscious or psychology. To an ancient human, there was no concept of just a dream. What they saw when they closed their eyes was not a hallucination. It was a real experience. It was a real place. And this terrifying, mysterious nightly journey completely changed the course of human history. For early humans, the waking world was hard enough to understand. The sun moved across the sky, the seasons changed, and predators lurked in the tall grass. But the night world was pure magic. And it was pure terror. When an early human fell asleep, their body stayed in the cave. Their family could see them lying there, still and quiet. But the dreamer was not there. The dreamer was standing by a river they visited 3 days ago. The dreamer was flying above the trees. The dreamer was fighting a bear. How could you explain this? How could you be lying on the cave floor, yet simultaneously walking through a forest miles away? Anthropologists and historians believe that early humans came to a very logical conclusion. They decided that humans must be made of two parts. There is the heavy physical body that needs to eat and sleep, and then there is something else, a shadow, a breath, a spirit. When the physical body went to sleep, this second self, this spirit, was free to leave. It stood up, walked out of the cave, and traveled into a parallel dimension. The dream world was just as real as the waking world. It was simply the place where the spirit lived. This simple idea, born entirely from the mystery of dreaming, is what many scholars believe is the origin of the human soul. It is the foundation of almost every early belief system on Earth. Dreams gave us the soul. But the dream world was not just a place for the spirit to wander. It was a place of extreme danger. Evolutionary psychologists have a fascinating theory about why we have nightmares. It's called the threat simulation theory. Think about the dreams that wake you up in a panic. You are being chased, you are falling, you are trapped, you are naked in front of a crowd, feeling exposed and vulnerable. For an ancient human, survival was a daily coin toss. A mistake meant death. The brain needed a way to practice survival without actually risking the body. So, when the human went to sleep, the brain created a virtual reality simulator. It forced the ancient human to practice running from wolves, fighting off rival tribes, and surviving falls. Nightmares were not a glitch in the human brain. They were a biological training camp. The humans who had the most terrifying nightmares were practicing survival every single night. When they woke up, their reflexes were sharper. Their fear kept them alive. We are the descendants of the humans who had the worst nightmares. But dreams did something else too, something much more emotional and much more profound. Imagine a time before photographs, before written language. If someone you loved died, they were gone. Their body was buried or left to nature. The tribe had to move on. But then the night comes. You fall asleep, and suddenly your mother, who passed away 3 moons ago, is standing right in front of you. She looks healthy. She speaks to you. You can hear her voice. You can feel her hand on your shoulder. And then you wake up. What would you think? Would you think it was just a random firing of neurons in your visual cortex? No, you would think a miracle had just occurred.
For early humans, dreaming of the dead was ultimate, undeniable proof that death was not the end. The body may have stopped moving, but the person was still alive somewhere else. They had simply moved permanently into the dream world. When early humans dreamed of their ancestors, they believed the ancestors were actually coming to visit them. They were crossing the bridge between the land of the living and the land of the dead to deliver messages, warnings, or comfort. This profoundly changed how humans dealt with grief. It made loneliness bearable. It meant that those we lost were never truly gone, as long as we could close our eyes and find them in the dark. As humans evolved and tribes turned into massive civilizations, our relationship with dreams shifted. We stopped seeing dreams just as the wandering of our own soul and started seeing them as direct text messages from the gods. In ancient Mesopotamia and early Egypt, dreams became serious government business. Kings wouldn't make decisions about war or farming without consulting their dreams. The ancient Egyptians even wrote entire manuals to decode the night. The Chester Beatty Dream Book, written over 3,000 years ago, is essentially the world's oldest dream dictionary. If you dreamt of a large cat, it meant a large harvest. If you dreamt of losing a tooth, it meant a relative was going to die. Dreams became omens. They were a window into the future. In ancient Greece, people who were sick wouldn't just go to a doctor. They would go to a dream temple. These were sacred buildings dedicated to Asclepius, the god of medicine. The sick person would sleep on the stone floor of the temple, surrounded by non-venomous snakes that slithered over them in the dark. The hope was that the god would visit them in their dream and tell them exactly how to cure their illness. The dream was the medicine. For thousands of years, across every continent, humans bowed to the power of the dream. It was the place where God spoke, where the dead lived, and where the future was written. It was only very recently in the timeline of human history that we pulled the magic out of the night. With the rise of modern psychology, figures like Sigmund Freud told us that dreams were just our repressed desires. Neuroscience later told us that dreams are just the brain archiving memories and throwing out the garbage of the day. We turned the spirit world into brain chemistry. We made the dream world small. But even today, knowing everything we know about neurons and sleep cycles, something ancient still lives inside us. When you have a nightmare that you are falling, your body still violently jerks awake, your heart racing, fully convinced you are about to die. When you dream of a loved one who has passed away and you hear their voice one last time, you still wake up with tears in your eyes, feeling a profound, unexplainable comfort. For a few fleeting moments before the rational brain takes over, we still believe it was real. We still feel the exact same terror, the exact same wonder, and the exact same love as the humans who slept on the dirt 50,000 years ago. We may have mapped the brain, but we will never truly conquer the night, because every time we close our eyes, we return to the very same darkness our ancestors did. And we are never truly alone in it.